Okay, so let's have a little overview of what we mean by atoms. As I said earlier on, absolutely everything that you've ever come across or probably know about is made out of atoms. So what would that might include? Well, the air that you breathe, the water that you drink, the food that you eat, the table, the computer, the your pet dog or cat, your parents, and you, everything that you have in contact that you can point to and you can touch is made out of atoms. Now you can't actually. It doesn't feel like you can touch air, but that's just because it's kind of very low density, I suppose. There's tiny little molecules and atoms that are you don't really feel. But if you move your hand quickly through the air, then you can actually feel the air. And if you ride your bike quickly down a hill, then you can feel the air there as well. So anything that you can feel or touch is made out of atoms as far as you're concerned. Now, this periodic table of elements, we'll talk about the word elements probably in a different next video. But for now, we can imagine that this is a list of every single type of atom that there are. Okay, so everything's made out of atoms, but not all atoms are the same. So, for example, you could have. So, what we'll do, we'll represent an atom with a circle for the moment, and so we'll say that that is my carbon atom. Okay, and then we'll do an oxygen atom. Okay, and then we'll do a hydrogen atom. Okay, and we're going to give these different colours. So I tend to make carbon sort of grey or black. I tend to make oxygen a sort of reddish colour. And I try to make them different sizes, roughly equivalent to what I know about the atoms. And we'll leave hydrogen as white. Now, the next thing we want to know about these 100, we can actually see how many atoms there are, because if we look, one of the numbers on the different elements, different types of atoms on the periodic table, the bottom number, it says it's called the atomic or the proton number. For now, let's refer to it as the atomic number, and this is atomic number 1. In other words, this is atom number 1. This is the first atom, hydrogen. Hydrogen is the first atom in our list of different types of atoms. Our second atom in the list is helium. And we keep going through, and because they go up in these numbers, we can go to the very last one and we can say, therefore, there are 118 different types of atoms. Now, there may actually be more, maybe on slightly more, but it depends how thorough this periodic table is. Don't worry too much about how it's arranged. We've got this interesting other rectangle of elements down here, and why is it in this sort of shape? We will look at that later on, but for the moment, we can just imagine that we have a list of all the different types of atoms that there are. So I've taken 3. I've taken a hydrogen, a carbon, and an oxygen atom. And the next thing I want to talk about in this video is what a molecule is. Now, a molecule is made out of more than one type of atom. So, for example, you could have an oxygen molecule. It's made out of 2 oxygen atoms. So this is an oxygen molecule which has 2 oxygen atoms in it. The symbol for oxygen is O, as we see here. And to represent an oxygen molecule, I can write O2. So this tells me, this little 2 here tells me the number of oxygen atoms within this oxygen molecule. So that could go with that there. Let's have a look at another one then. We could take this carbon atom, and if we just have it on its own, we would say the symbol for that is just carbon. So you could just have a single carbon atom. That's possible. You could also have you could also have this molecule here, which is called methane, and this is the molecule for the gas that comes out of gas ovens, and that is used to for your central heating. Okay, I'll just move that back up there, so we've got like a little collection of different atoms to pick from. So this one is methane, like that. Okay, so I'm going to pause the video just for a moment now. Okay, so yeah, well done. These are the formulae for This is the formula for methane. So I'm just going to copy this one on the right. There. So this is what we call a formula. Okay, let's just label that formula. And we have many different substances are made out of a different combination of atoms. So for example, another one is water. You may have heard of water as being H2O. So that's going to be 2 hydrogens and 1 oxygen. And water molecules do in fact look a bit like that. They have like a sort of Mickey Mouse head design. So you have the 2 hydrogens on above, like the ears, and then the name below. Sorry, the oxygen below. So that this is H2O, and this is water. Now, one thing to notice about this then is that we have carbon, which is like single atoms, with oxygen, which is in pairs. We have methane, which is a group of 5 atoms, and water, that's a group of 3. But the groups, so this is, let's label some of these. I've got a molecule here, a molecule here. I'm going to just write molecule, and then I think I'm going to shrink it, maybe give it a different color, and we'll put it by here, and by here, and here. However, the oxygen molecule is the odd one out because it is made out of only 1 type of atom. These are made out of 2 types of atoms, and this is made out of 2 types of atoms. So because the oxygen molecule is only made out of 1 type of atom, we can actually call it oxygen. We can't call this carbon or hydrogen because it's made out of carbon and hydrogen, so we give it another name, methane. We can't call this oxygen or hydrogen because it's made out of both of them, so we call it water, right? So these 2 examples here are made out of more than 1 type of atom, and they're bonded together, so we call them compounds. Okay, so I think I'll stop the video there. We'll make a second video about elements, compounds, and mixtures.